Welcome to Monday night live stream, or my first Friday of the week. We'll call that. Hopefully everybody's getting ready for Thanksgiving and going to enjoy some time with their families and eat some good food and have a good time. So I see a lot of you guys saying you got snow and cold weather up there. That's pretty tough. So hey, Michael and Sean and James Knoll, Jim Hughes, Stuffy, good to see you. Oh, what's Charlie eating tonight? I saw you bite something. Cheese?
Yeah, cheeseburger sub.
How's it going?
All right.
Yep, not much happening. The bees are all over the dry pollen sub.
But actually, that's what I did today. Is I should have put it. Well, actually, I put it out there yesterday. I went through a couple hives and seen some larvae, and I really didn't see a lot of pollen out there. So I went ahead and a little bucket.
Yeah, you got a little bucket like I do.
And threw a little scoop of Ultra B pollen powder.
How long did it take them to get on it?
I don't know. I left, I stuck it out there after, yesterday and midday, and they must have been on it pretty good. And then I went out there today. It was a little bit cooler, close to 50 degrees, and they were on it. So.
Well, thank you, Robert. We have it was 66 today. 66 degrees. Appreciate that, brother.
I think it was like 49 degrees today or something like that, 50 degrees.
And I had a pretty good weekend, Charlie, for selling honey out on the street there.
Yeah, what was it, $600 or something like that?
I did 500 the first day and 195 the second day on Sunday. So $700.
Better than your job.
Yeah, I mean, and literally I was out there for like 4 hours on Saturday. And less than that, because I didn't even, most people here go to church in the morning, and by the time they get out of church or go get something to eat and on the way home or something like that, that's when they'll swing by. But yeah, so yesterday was a pretty good day as well.
Then I brought it's supposed to rain all day tomorrow, so I brought the bucket in until the rain goes away.
Yeah, it's supposed to rain a bit here tomorrow as well, but because I could I lay the bucket on the side and then jack up the back a little bit so they have to fly into it.
Yeah.
So it usually doesn't get too bad. And plus I put it in there yesterday, so they've had over a day to hit it off there. But yeah, they're doing pretty good. I mean, I'm not really going in them too much, to be honest with you, just because there's nothing I can do in there, right? They're kind of what they are.
I went into one. I found the queen. I found, I'll say, some eggs or larvae with a little bit of jelly. I said, okay. And I got pretty good bee population. I went into, hey, Russell.
Yeah.
And
that's kind of
went into a 10 framer that was a nuke. There's plenty of food around them, and there's a little open brood or open cells, but no eggs. No, she's not laying or anything. I can't find her. Maybe she's, shrunk down for the winter or whatever. I don't know. Hey, Todd.
Hey, Charlie. Hey, Bob.
So I just closed them all back up, and I thought about I should have went out there, maybe sprinkled some pollen powder on top of the frames or something, but I didn't.
Some magic fairy dust on the frames to get them to grow big and strong.
Yeah.
That's something that, man, I think that's just a huge lesson I learned this year. And there's no way to really define it for people, right? You have to, when you look at the colony, what I had to do is I had to fight my urge to split or to put an extra box on. I fought that urge, right? I had I'm used to looking in a colony and it just kind of being some bees, but not like a box of bees, right? What you would think. And I really waited longer to get them to slam as many bees as they could in there before I added a box or, gave them more space. Robert, man, you got your ears lowered for the holidays. Looking mighty svelte there. What's going on?
Not much. Actually, the reason why I called in, I was going to tell you the night before last or whatever it was, you were talking about hive beetles a bit. And I've had two small swarms that I'd caught at the end of the season. And they're so light and the numbers are so low. There's like a 0 chance of them making it through the season. But I went ahead and broke them down into some 4-frame nukes just to give them a shot. But anyway, where I was going with this is when I opened that 4-frame nuke up, or that swarm up, and they were a September swarm or something like that. And they were full of hive beetles, completely full of hive beetles. And they were, basically a feral swarm, right? They're out in the woods in a tree. And that box was completely loaded with hive beetles.
I think what it might have been or might be is when you get that swarm in the box, did you give them drawn comb already, or did they have to try to draw comb everything?
They drew all their own comb. They had those were just empty frames.
Okay, so you put the empty frames in there, and then what's the first thing they have to do? They have to start stacking as many resources as they can in there. So I wonder if that the low population, right, when they start, and the fact that they've got a bunch of open resources that they're collecting and trying to store in there, I wonder if that has something to do with stimulating them to find a colony like that, because they don't fly with them. They don't have any comb until you put them in the box, right? So there's nothing for them to feast on.
They had four frames that had like a third of the frame built out. So there's 4 frames, and all 4 of them had just 1/3 of the frame built out on the one end of the hive. So, but they were just loaded with hive beetles. It was crazy. I've never seen anything like it, so traditionally I never even have hive beetles.
It'd be a good thing to do is if you had a small 2-gallon bucket. Well, it'd be hard to do it. Like a 2-gallon bucket with a mesh over it, where you could shake the bees onto that bucket, and inside the bucket have diatomaceous earth, and just bang the beetles through the mesh into the diatomaceous earth or into oil or whatever in there.
I gave them all new frames. I took frames from a couple of the other. I had a couple hives that went queenless, and I had taken their resources and just took the whole box and stacked it on another hive, expecting something similar to this to happen. And so I only go through winter with in a single brood management,
Well,
and so what I did is,
queenless, you might have been able to take that swarm and do a paper combine with the bigger colony.
Well, the other ones are queen right. What I did is the other ones weren't queen right, and I shook them down to the other hives. I had the resources, right? So I double stacked them, knowing that I was going to have something happen with another colony by the end of the season. And so I just took the resources from there. I took 4 frames out of that, put them on those new 4 frames. And then I took all the honey that was in their thirds of frames and just smashed the honey down into their box. So now they have some resources at least to get them through the winter, but they're not going to probably make it anyways. It's 1 frame or basically, front and back 1 frame. So maybe,
I bet you if you put them in one of them lice and polyhives, they'd make it.
Yeah, I don't have such a thing, but maybe. But they're all going to get insulated here this weekend.
Well, then they might make it if they're insulated. I don't watch Dr. Leo, to be honest with you. But if he's getting $150 per pound of honey, there's a sucker born every minute. That's all I'm saying. So $150 a pound.
That's kind of
It would have to have gold flakes in it for me to buy it at $1.50 a pound. And I'm not saying, well, God, I didn't want to go down this road. But the reason why I don't watch Dr. Leo is, first of all, Dr. Leo is not a doctor in beekeeping. He's a doctor in forestry. That's what his degree's in. So to advertise Dr. Leo is kind of a deception on the fact that you're a beekeeper and you're preaching beekeeping and natural beekeeping, but yet that's not your degree of study, right? So he's a beekeeper like the rest of us. He just happens to have a doctorate in something, right? He could have a doctorate in pine straw basket weaving, and it wouldn't matter as far as the beekeeping side of things.
The other problem too, and it's the problem with his management style. A lot of at least the commercial guys have a serious problem with his management style because they feel like not maintaining your bees is potentially causing infection of other colonies.
Well,
so, spread of disease. And
I'll tell you how I was exposed to Dr. Leo is through Doug and Stacy, the homesteading channel.
Yeah.
Right. He goes out there and works their hives with them or is teaching them or whatever. And I think, Doug and Stacy have a large following, so it's beneficial for Dr. Leo and, kind of mutually beneficial. But
he's working the homesteader market.
One video I went out there, they went out there and looked at the colony, and there was so many hive beetles running around Doug and Stacy's colony. But he's a natural beekeeper, so his response is put it back together, right? After they do the inspection, they just put it back together. Don't do anything. And I think it was a top bar hive, or either a top bar or a long lang or something like that. And I'm watching the video from my point of view from sitting here in South Carolina. So that colony's dead already. And they haven't shown it yet, right? So fast forward, the next video that they put out, they're doing a hive inspection on that same colony, and all the bees are gone, right? All the bees, they're gone, and they harvest the honey out of the thing. So, I understand the point of view, and I would love to be a natural beekeeper. Trust me, I would love not to buy vaporizers and everything, right? Because it'd be cheaper for everybody, and if the bees were healthy, that would be the prime objective anyway. So, but they're willing. Most natural beekeepers are willing to allow the bees just to perish and do nothing. And I understand when they're in a tree, they manage themselves. However, we're taking them out of that tree and we're putting them in a different environment that they're not accustomed to. So if you could kill hive beetles, why wouldn't you kill the hive beetles instead of just letting the bees abscond or die or whatever, So that's just, that's a rabbit hole on that situation. So.
That same issue or argument goes to that swarm I was just talking about. They were completely infested with hive beetles, and they've only been in that box just over a month. So,
when it's cold, way down. So smash, play whack-a beetle.
There's no way they would have made it through a season. I'm not sure how it works with hive beetles over the winter months here.
They'll stay warm. The bees will keep them warm inside the colony. If the bees are going to survive because they keep the temperature, the beetles will also be right there with them. But the ability to kill them at that time of the year becomes much greater. I would have did you put a Swiffer sheet or something on them to try to catch them?
No. So since I put all new comb in there, I just shook the bees off, and then I killed 100 hive beetles. There was as many hive beetles in that box as there was bees. So
yeah, that's a tough situation. I saw today Ed put out a video where he had a swarm when he came home from work on a tree right there. So it's I guess he caught it. I don't know. A video kind of cut off right in the middle of it, but it's they're small this time of year. Probably won't make it,
I had a colony that absconded about 3 weeks ago, which was crazy because there's zero chance of them surviving. Zero. I mean, it's not even questionable. Like, why would they abscond? Oh, I know why they absconded. They were being attacked
Well,
by.
there's not zero. If they absconded, I mean, there's bees in nature make it year to year to year to year.
Yeah,
It's
they
not a
have
zero
resources.
chance.
They have resources they can build up over the season. This colony just left 3 weeks ago. There's no more. There's no pollen. There's no nectar. There's nothing for them. So there's no way they could possibly survive. I would be surprised they survived the week. I mean, honestly, this time of year. I mean, we're having temperatures every night in the 30s. So there's just, like I said, it's just a zero chance. So
Really, couldn't get Jen to buy Utz chips.
Yeah, I mean, they're the best.
Hey, thanks, Matt. Appreciate you, buddy.
I didn't think that they shipped them out that far.
Oh, yeah. They got them all over. We get them here. Snyder's, Utz, Wrap Snacks. We get all that stuff.
Not out here. They must cause cancer.
Well, everything. They want y'all to eat grass.
Yeah.
you can't get the grass either. It's probably
Rebar,
Rebar and grass.
worms, roaches, chocolate-covered scorpions I've seen.
You're in
Where you at?
Virginia?
Yeah, where are you at in Virginia? Right. See down there next to the fires?
There's fires in Virginia.
He's all over the place.
Mountains on fire.
He was just in
Maybe
at a
he
3-day
started.
market the other day.
Maybe he started it.
Nah, they've been going on for the
Oh.
last several weeks. We're having forest fires like you guys have forest fires out there now.
Well,
Is it-
everything's black over here, so nothing more is going to burn for a while.
They've got a couple mountains on fire. They're like 10,000. Yeah, about 10,000 acres or something like that.
Wow,
Needs
that's
to burn all that underbrush around my house would be nice.
around here. That's an hour of burning. 10,000 acres. That goes up every 5 minutes around here.
I wish it would show the little sticker when you pop it up there, whatever the little thing was.
Hey, Bob, I've been hearing a lot about your creamed honey, and I've listened to your different videos there, but
I am not an authority.
you made that in 3 days? All of your creamed honey?
Pretty much 3 days per batch. Now, with that being said, I'm not making, so they say 10 to 1, right? So I'm starting with greater than 10% starter seed when I started. So the first one was about 3 days. The other ones were taking longer because the seed was not like the initial one, the first starter seed I used. So I started it, and then I take a pint back out of after I get it creamed, and that's my seed for my next batch, which usually takes that next batch longer to crystallize. So
Can you give me the 3-minute version of how you make your creamed honey? I'm going to try that this weekend.
I use the KitchenAid mixer.
Yeah, I have 2 of those. So
On the very first click you can click it on, that's what I put it on. I use the I don't use the bread thing. I use it's flat, kind of looks like a shield with the different, you know what I'm talking about. That's what I've been using, and I put a pint of seed in there and 2 or 3 quarts of honey in there to get it started. And once it starts, I pretty much run it for 15, 20 minutes in the morning, then come back later on that day and turn it on for 15 or 20 minutes and maybe a third time before I go to bed at night, and just do that about 3 or 4 times a day. Then you'll see it'll start changing colors and thickening up. And that's pretty much when I take it off and I fill up my seed jar, whatever I'm going to use for my starter for my next batch. And then I'll put it back on the mixer and add whatever flavoring I'm going to add to it.
Okay, so you're adding the flavoring last after it's already completely creamed.
Yep.
You're now, how much
Well,
volume?
that's the trick question, right? Everybody's going to say, well, how much flavoring do you put in your batch? I put it in, taste it. Nah, not enough. Put it in, taste it, maybe a little bit more. Put it in, taste it.
Just in general. So now you have what, 4 quarts in this mixer? Is that where
3 to 4 quarts, yeah, a couple gallons.
And then
Or a gallon.
roughly how much flavoring are you putting in there? I don't even care what flavor. I'm just saying, like, is it a cup?
Flavors are different though.
Yeah, the peanut butter powder took way more than
cinnamon.
Snickers did, and I haven't added cinnamon flavor yet, but
cinnamon, yeah.
So
different.
I don't even measure it. I just scoop it and taste it.
You gotta taste it. Write down how much you put in. Taste it. You need more, put more in. Write down how much. I have a little scale, so I put it in a little dish. I go by ounces. I tear out the dish. I pour in whatever ingredient I'm putting in. Stir it up. Get it mixed up. Taste it. If it's not enough, I'll add more.
Well, I mean, purchase how much volume? Like, I don't like your Snickers or your peanut butter. What size container do you buy to begin with?
Oh, I can show you that. Hold on.
That's what I'm asking. Like, do I put in? Is it a half cup per? Is it a cup per?
Well,
4 cups? Like, how much volume do I need to buy to try to add flavor to it? I don't want to.
It varies.
So, like cinnamon, is it a whole bottle of cinnamon, or is it like spoonfuls?
I did 20. My recipe for that was like 20 pounds of honey and 2 pounds of seed, and I put in. I want to say it was just 4.5 ounces of cinnamon.
Okay, so you're talking spoonfuls of cinnamon versus your peanut butter. You're talking.
So this is the size peanut butter that I bought,
and I have the same.
And that's how much I put in. You see, it's like a third of it went into the batch for the peanut butter.
That's about what I did.
The Snickers is about half of one of these. Well, maybe a little bit less than half. And then I haven't used the cinnamon yet, but that's a 9.5 ounce. This is a 7.12 ounces.
Cinnamon is obviously just ground cinnamon. What is the?
And this is 1 pound, 14 ounces, 30 ounces. Huh?
What is it? What is the
powdered peanut butter?
Yeah,
it's literally just powdered peanut butter.
Yep.
And then what was the Snickers stuff that you're using? What is it called?
Say that again.
What is the Snickers that you're using? What is it called?
Well, it's called a Snickers shaker. And I got this at Sam's Club. You can probably get it on Amazon because I looked for this at Sam's Club last time. They didn't have it when I was there.
So,
I
mean, it's a
Snickers flavored powder.
I mean, it's I don't know what that is. Like, is it almost like a hot chocolate mix? Is that what they're, like really what it was?
You've never had a Snickers candy bar?
Yeah, no, I meant the powdery stuff. Like, what is the purpose of it? Like, where you're using it in your home, but what is it? Is it like a? If I go searching for it, I can Google it right now, I guess. But if I go
called a Snickers Shakers seasoning blend, is what it says.
Yeah, or you could
great for ice cream, cookies, milkshakes, and more. So I went with the and more category.
Just Google Snickers powder. I bet it comes up.
Yeah, I typed it in just how I said it. It comes up. It's $4.48 at Walmart.
If you can find it,
you'll have to get it off Amazon. But you know what you need to do, Robert, is you need to make the same size batch each time. Like what I'm doing is I'm doing basically 2 pounds, and I'm getting 26 to 28 half pint jars out of that batch. But I mark the bucket so I know what level I'm at, and then now I'm just adding the same thing. So when you first have to get the recipe going, you have to taste it. You have to write down how much you add in ounces. Then after that, it's cake.
This says
that contains peanuts.
The ingredients of peanut powder. It says roasted peanuts, and then it says cane sugar, sea salt. And then it says it may contain traces of almonds, cashews, hazelnuts, and pistachios.
All right, you're the stuff you're looking at there, the peanut powder or peanut butter powder.
Yep. Great value peanut butter powder. I think this was $12 or $13 for.
I got
this
it.
big,
Yeah, $10.48 at Walmart.
Yep. Something like that.
Yeah, I was going to experiment with a few. First, I'm going to try to build a seed this weekend, but I keep hearing you guys talk about it. I'm like, I got to try this.
I bought my seed, so I wasn't mortar and pestling it. And actually, it was not a happy accident. I bought a jar of creamed, a pint jar of creamed honey at the Hive Life last year. And so I used a little bit of it, but I didn't use that much of it. So that became my seed for my creamed honeys. And, they weren't selling it at all until I let somebody taste it. And then it's like, oh, I'll take one of them and one of those. And that would be great in a smoothie. And, so.
Have any of you guys tried selling your crystallized honey as crystallized honey in addition to like the creamed honey? Because I use the crystallized honey on toast all the time.
Someone just.
No, I don't. I just cream mine.
I don't know.
Your cheap jars you got. Is there a particular vendor that you recommend that you got yours through, or?
I will share the exact ones that I got them that I ordered. I ordered 2 different times. The first time it was a little bit cheaper than the second time, just because of the amount of time I was going to have to wait to get them, but it was a couple days more. And I was trying to get ready for the weekend, but I will share that over in the chat here. That's on there, and then I'll put it in the private chat over here for you guys. And those are the jars I got. And then look what came, Charlie, yesterday.
What is it?
Well, glad you asked. We'll open it up and see what it is. You already know what it is. It's made in Xinjiang Electronics Company. Something like that.
The north side or south side?
It is that.
Oh, your thermometer.
The controller. And I got the lamp and extension cord out there. And I figured out I'm going to use one of those square heater fan things and turn the heat off on it and just use it as a fan. So it just circulates air through there.
What's this for, Bob?
For the honey warming cabinet.
What kind of fan are you getting?
So I've got it was a heater, but it has elements in it, but it's a fan, right? A little square like that. I'm just going to set that in there, but I'm going to turn the heat off and just use it as a fan to circulate air in there. So when the temperature comes on, the light comes on, it's going to blow air around in there. And so that's kind of the idea, because I couldn't find any fans because it's wintertime, believe it or not. Or they were ginormous ones that wouldn't work.
Yeah, I'm thinking about just a small fan.
Yeah, that's it.
Like a computer fan or something a little bit better than that.
I bought the model that you bought, Charlie, that you had suggested.
The Inkbird?
Yeah.
What is it?
The Inkbird.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
Again, it was one of those things that I was trying to get in so I could put it in the cabinet and do it right away. It was supposed to be here on Saturday, and it didn't come. So otherwise, I would have had to wait till like Thursday of this week to get it. So tomorrow I can go out and put it in when it's a kind of rainy day. and get that old refrigerator cleaned up.
Hey, Charlie,
The fan should run continuously. So even in, it should run continuously even when the light isn't on?
It should circulate that heat around.
All right. That shouldn't be hard to figure out.
Charlie, do you monitor humidity as well?
Monitoring what?
Humidity.
No. Now what we're talking about heating up honey, keep it from crystallizing. So that doesn't really matter.
Yeah, no, I just was curious if anybody monitored humidity in addition to the temperature.
No, you can monitor humidity if you're going to do queen rearing as an incubator.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't even do that. You know.
I'm gonna get that other one with the humidity sensor on it. It's I think that Inkbird 30 is it a 308? And then they got a 308H or P or something like that.
Right.
I got you.
I just bought that.
Keith had a question a little bit back.
Keith did? Larimore?
Yeah.
Let me see.
So I'll tell him what I had or what I did.
Hold on. I have some goldenrod honey that crystallized. That one?
Yeah. So my seed came from Walmart. The Miller's honey comes in 1 pound tubs. It's creamed honey. And what I did was I used that as my initial batch, mixed it up, made sure it was creamy. Then I didn't throw the tubs away. Thanks to Bob's idea, I refilled them. And that's, since it's been mixed up and it's a seed inside the bucket, and I poured 2 1-pounders of it and put it back in the pantry and, use it on my next batch. Do the same.
Every batch you just refill up your container after you got the bulk amount. Now you have seed for your next.
So I'm in for $12 on the first batch, but then I make sure I pour it off and fill up those tubs, put it in the pantry, and then my next batch, do the same thing. That's it. The honey is it's Miller's honey. It's out of Utah, and it is clover honey. So it's not a bad taste.
Now, when you guys typically do your creamed honey, do you usually use the lighter cream color, honey color, or do you use the darker?
I use whatever I got.
It's good. Mine darkens up with my honey because right now it's a darker amber color. It's a wildflower color. So it does lighten up a little bit more than what the honey itself is. But, it is what it is. It doesn't change the flavor. Although I'll say this, I'm not going to mix lemon creamed honey with a darker base because to me that just doesn't look right.
Yeah, that's why I was asking, because I heard you talk about that the other night.
Now, when you do cinnamon, it darkens it. It's what I could do with the creamed honey that I bought and I add my honey. It looks like a lighter colored peanut butter. If I make a cinnamon batch, it turns more reddish brown. If I do the peanut butter batch, it basically stays the same. But I'm not going to do a lemon batch because, again, it doesn't look right. So.
Yeah, I have some locust honey still left, which is almost clear. So that's why I was asking.
I'm glad you guys know all the different ones. I'm like, I just got honey. I don't know where it came from, what flower. I just got
only
honey.
have 3 trees, so I know it's either the locust tree.
So let me tell you a funny story. Well, it's funny to me. So Mr. Sam came over yesterday, and as soon as he pulls up, I'm still like setting the table up and putting stuff out, and there's people that are starting to come while he's sitting there, and he's talking. He's telling people, well, I sell honey too up the road, right? And it doesn't bother me, that if he's going to sell something, he'll sell out way before I do anyway. But the thing was that one lady was like, oh, they came all the way from the beach up here. And they're like, oh, the only place we've been buying since my husband tasted your honey is your honey. He won't buy any of the other honey where we're at. And Mr. Sam's like, well, my honey's good too. So it was funny. So black locust is the best for creamed honey. That's the only honey I use when I make creamed honey. Well, hey, Paps. Yeah, I don't know. Sean, I've seen the posts. I get all the same posts from them as you do.
So that if you're wondering, locust honey it's very light flavored. It's very, very light in color. It's almost clear. It's about as light as honey you can get.
You know, it was pretty funny with the hot honeys. I would let them try both honeys, right? The fresh pepper and the Carolina Reaper, and they ended up buying both jars. It's like they would buy one if they wanted to use it for something not so hot, and then one that's like really hot for the other one, right? And it was kind of interesting. But again, until you start letting them taste it and you run your mouth and you say, hey, have you tried this? We got a sampling station. Let's go through. I'll show you, and let them do it. And I just ordered all them spoons. I ordered 1,000 spoons today, little sample spoons. Where is that? Orders. I'm trying to show y'all what I got. They say they are extra sturdy. So whatever that is, whatever that means. Let's post that up there. Hold on one second. I've got somebody in the waiting room that I haven't met yet. So
Charlie, they've got some popcorn flavor. You could do some popcorn flavored honey.
a little white cheddar creamed honey. Oh, can't see, man, tonight. Hey, Chris.
Hello.
Where are you located?
Right now I'm in close to Monterrey in Mexico, but I'm from Bakersfield, California, just below Todd.
Okay. Are you keeping bees in Mexico, or are you just on vacation?
No, I'm just on vacation right now.
He's about an hour and a half south of me.
I have about 25 hives out in the desert. But on your creamed honey, I was watching Phil from Louisiana Hot Sauce, and he makes all sorts of hot honey and creamed honey.
Mm-hmm.
And he was talking about once you add any capsaicin or chilies or chili flakes or anything to the honey, now you're under USDA, I think, approval it was, to sell it, because now it's adulterated honey.
Oh yeah.
Right. Well, that would be anything, though, right?
Yeah. Well, like, we can sell honey from our home, like you do and I do, and that's fine. But once you add something to it, like your hot honey or creamed honey, now you're not supposed to. Apparently, I probably will.
Right. Well, that's the whole gray area, right? It's like,
Yeah.
Well,
I'm on my own property. People are driving to my house. Yep.
Yeah.
The law is, if I do anything like that, that I'm supposed to have the at least my honey processing facility inspected. Right.
Okay. Yeah.
But the I wonder if you accidentally clicked off. But every state is different, right? I mean, and everybody knows their state's better than I do. I know that. I have never had anybody show up here official.
So, Charlie, here you have butter for your flavors. They offer a butter popcorn, white cheddar popcorn, caramel corn, jalapeno, which I've never heard anybody jalapeno popcorn before, and kettle corn. So, man, you're set. Got the full array of popcorn flavored creamed honey.
You, you know, getting back to adding stuff, think about it. Technically,
There we
if you're
go.
making if you're making cut comb, you're adding to honey. Can't do it.
Well, really, do you know? Here's kind of now. This is not anything new, but if you listen to Bob Binney, and they talk about how the chemicals that are in your comb, right?
Yeah.
From wherever they're getting them out here, and then you're selling the honey in the comb, and people are putting that whole comb in their mouth and chewing it up, right? So I wonder. We lost you there for a minute.
Yep.
But that's a whole different thing, right? That I don't think I've ever heard anybody say anything about that part of it.
Yeah. Well, I didn't either until it was last night, watching, I say, Philip, Louisiana hot sauce. And he has a commercial kitchen and he's doing commercial stuff and because he's got it where he can make his hot sauce, I guess, consistent from batch to batch, bottle to bottle.
Right.
How hot it is and stuff. And he was just kind of explaining different parts of that. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, he's cutting out his competition.
Maybe.
Well, I mean, he's speaking.
But actually, here in Maryland, and our cottage food laws is the same thing. If you add a flavor to your honey, then you have to process it in a commercial kitchen.
Right. Yeah.
You know.
I mean,
I wasn't trying to make any problems.
Oh no. Well,
He's curious and learning like everybody else.
He is for sure speaking the truth, but every state has their own laws that are different, right? And many of them do have the same thing as far as adding stuff to honey and stuff like that. So that's I get it. However, I've never had a bee police show up at my house.
Yeah. Well, I haven't either. Well, I did too. My neighbors called them on me. Yeah.
Called the bee police on you?
When I get back, I'm going to make some creamed honey and try to flavor it. Yeah.
So what did they call the bee police about you?
Bees.
Just having too many bees, or?
Well, just have them in my yard.
Yeah.
It's not against the law.
Here it is. Yeah.
It is.
It is?
Yeah.
Yeah. The farming community, they don't like them.
Oh, well, bees in California, they cause cancer. I forgot.
Yeah.
Well, probably. The farmers don't like them here in Bakersfield. Yeah.
In Bakersfield, the farmers don't like them?
Well, not the farmers, but here we are, a farming town, farming community, where it used to be until we went to concrete. But San Francisco, Los Angeles, and everybody else can have bees in their backyard, but not around the farmers here.
Yeah.
It's I don't understand why they would rather spray with chemicals on their crops and kill the bees than let the bees do their job and probably get a better crop from the bees pollinating it than how they do it now, at least with trees and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, that's see, I had a stroke about 20 years ago, and I was at home looking out at my peach trees and stuff, and I said, I'd like to have some bees, maybe get some better crop, and that's how I got into it.
Chris, what's your YouTube channel name?
Well, I don't have one. I just signed in here as a guest.
Oh no, I'm just saying when you watch us and you're in the chat, I've never seen your name pop up over there though.
No, this is the first time.
Oh,
I
okay.
just and I'm on a phone that I don't know how to operate. So yeah.
It's all good. If I was in Mexico, I'd been sipping on a tequila or something. Something.
Well, we have to take a rest once in a while.
Oh, so you guys got any plans for your bees? I know Robert's getting ready for winter. Charlie's has already put to bed for the winter. Todd, what you doing out there? Well, you guys are close to each other.
The holding pattern. There's not much going on. Just have to make sure they're, the weight stays up through December or so, and then if I have to feed them, I'll feed them. But I don't know. We'll see.
Well, I'm probably going to have to go get another tote here soon because Sam came over. When he came over, he was asking me, "Hey, you got any syrup left?" Not much.
My bees have been burning through feed like mad this last couple of weeks. Like just a month ago, their weight on the hives it felt like they were, 10 or 15 pounds heavier than they are now. I don't know why we're burning through so much feed right now.
It's probably warmer than normal, right?
It is, but still, it's just
They're
crazy.
flying, they're dying, they're burning through it. Nothing to get. They come back home hungry and eat it up. That's exactly what happened when I was in Mississippi for that week. I came back and I was like, wow, I know these things were heavier than this when I left. So some of them I had to start packing the feed back on.
I walked around.
That's the every year thing for us down here.
And I just couldn't believe how light some of them were. And I've been putting feed to them for weeks and 2 to 1. And some of them are just so light right now. It kind of worries me. I'm going to go throw some fondant on all of them probably this next weekend. After the
Yeah.
Hey, everybody.
You catch the swarm?
Not bad.
Yeah, the swarm's in the box. I didn't see a queen, but they're all in the box.
I think you got her early because when all those girls were standing on the top and fanning,
Yeah.
I think they were. She might have got her on the first scoop and just didn't realize it.
Yeah, because I took a big old handful and flipped them in there before. Actually, I took some off before I even got the video going. I was like, crap, I need a video of this. Yeah. And this is like 1 year and 1 month after I caught a swarm last October, and it made it through the winter. So I'm gonna have to go and nurture these little girls a little bit, give them some food and some maybe brood to keep them bolstered.
Right. Give them a little bit of life cycle in there, a little bit of food, a little pollen patty or something. I got a question.
Yeah.
Somebody had just messaged me, asked me, was all of my creamed honey flavored? All of mine is. All that I have is. Todd, have you done any just plain, just creamed honey with nothing in it?
I have. I test marketed it around the neighborhood. And boy, it's strong.
Did it sold good?
Yeah. Yeah, it was, but it's strong. It's got a strong flavor to it. It kind of sharpens the flavor, I guess. I don't know. But most liked it, a couple didn't.
Well,
I have bottles of it.
Starting to run out of runny honey.
Everybody loves that doggone cinnamon one, though. I sell the crap out of it.
Now, did you see? I always felt like with the cinnamon, when I make it, if I make it too strong, it becomes Fireball, and if it's if it's just too light, then it's just going to be cinnamon. So
yeah, I'm finding out though with I'm doing the vanilla bean right now, that when I first put the vanilla bean into it, it doesn't have much of a flavor. You sort of taste it, but a little bit as it sits, it starts to meld through it as you go through your cycles of turning it, and it starts to open up, and it actually tastes pretty good.
On my hot honey, I use the habanero oil, and I put in the Scotch pepper flakes, and all those do is they don't they just rise to the top or whatever. They don't. I don't know what the proper term is.
So are you jarring it and then putting the pepper in there, or are you putting it in? I mix it in bulk with all my peppers in it.
Yeah, so I mix it all up, and then I jar it. But then once it's in the jar, the pepper flakes all float to the top. And so when you look at the jar, they're not, distributed throughout the jar. They're all at the top.
It's like that.
Yeah.
So when people buy it from me, I tell them to turn the jar upside down on the counter so the pepper floats to the bottom. So when they flip it around, now they can get the honey out before before all the peppers come back to the top. But so how long are you leaving it in the bucket before you're jarring it?
Well, I'm doing like a half-gallon jar at a time, and then I'm just pouring it into once it sets. I'm letting it set in that jar for a couple of weeks to let the flavor, the oil, kind of dissipate into the honey, or hopefully.
Are you checking the moist? Oh, you're not using fresh peppers then?
No. I'm
Okay.
using. I bought the. It's here. I've got it right here, but give me a second. I can pull up what it's called, but yeah, it's just an oil. It's an extract, right? Oil extract from the actual peppers.
Right.
But like I said, it's not the oil. The oil is fine. It eventually just kind of blends in with all the honey. But the pepper flakes themselves, they all just settle to the top. And I just was wondering if there's a way to prevent that.
Yeah, type little anchors on them. Put little anchors on each piece, and it'll hold it to the bottom. Now they're gonna float. They're gonna float to the top. Yeah, they do it on mine too. And like the I took my jar out of here, but the Reaper, the powder settles, so I always flip it over. And what I noticed, I don't know if anyone else has noticed it, but when I use dried peppers and powder in the honey, regular honey, that thing crystallizes way faster than my hot honey with the fresh peppers in it. I mean, way faster. I mean, I made both batches at the same time. I bottled them at the same time. 2 weeks in, the Reaper honey is half crystallized. The fresh pepper isn't. So
I'll have to check that out just to see, because I've had it sitting in the cupboard for about a month now. So
you might have creamed hot honey.
Right.
It'd be good. Could put it right on some bagels, a little jalapeno honey on a bagel.
Yeah, I'll
smear on your chicken.
I don't tend to have a lot of problems with crystallization historically, but this year all my honey is being stored in in my shop, which is not climate controlled. So I'm going to move it over here to my house, because I'm afraid that the moisture or the cooling and the freezing and all that, like I'm just afraid it would potentially damage the honey. I don't know if that affects it, but I don't want to take any chances.
The floating peppers, that's what I use. Does two things for me. It lets me see the difference between the two hot honeys that I have, and also it's just eye candy for the customer. Right, the peppers in there. And since the way I did mine is I put all the peppers in that bag and weigh the bag down into the honey so it doesn't float up to the top, and then just kept stirring and stirring and stirring, and let it dehydrate with the filter mesh on top, that the white plastic mesh on top, and then
the brewing bags, kind of.
Yeah, the brewing bag. And then when it's time to bottle it, I actually empty the bottle and bag out, all the peppers into actually I take the honey from the bucket and I put it in a stainless pot with the peppers, and I just warm it up to thin that honey out for bottling. And then I pour it in my bucket with the gate on it and use it that way. And then it gets peppers mixed in with it. And it, I don't have to worry about like the casino thing. There's only 3 blueberries in this one, but there's 10 blueberries in this one. I want equal blueberries in each muffin. If you've seen Casino, you'll know what I'm talking about with that. But
I don't understand. Maybe you should get the Skittles out.
You know what? Those Skittles have disappeared somewhere. But they.
Hey, Todd. I was talking with Bob the other day, and I think I have a new strategy for going forward, because next year I was going to go to 100 colonies, but then found a guy that's selling pre-bottled honey for $6 a bottle for a pound.
I wouldn't buy it in a bottle.
And then he's selling 5-gallon buckets for $200.
Yep.
I would buy it by the. I would buy it in the 5-gallon bucket.
I can't even produce it for that kind of price.
That's a guy that just wants to get rid of it. He doesn't
You
want
can
to
produce it for that price.
Well,
he doesn't want to take the time to buy the bottles, bottle it, and sell it. He just wants to get rid of it.
no, he's willing to bottle it for $6 a bottle, in their glass bottles.
What was it?
Yeah.
$1 jar?
Yeah, $6 glass jar, unlabeled.
So
Wouldn't do it.
Yeah,
I would buy it. I would still buy it by the 5-gallon bucket,
I would too.
because you're buying a 5-gallon bucket for $200. If you buy 60 pounds at $6,
He's looking at
and $360 for the same amount of honey, and you can buy those plastic bottles with the lid for 45 cents, 50 cents a piece.
He's
So-
only loading buckets with 50 pounds, though. I read the small.
Still
read the,
50 it's still a deal, though. I mean,
yeah.
Yeah, it's still a deal.
it's a
And he's close to you, so it's still local honey, right?
Yeah,
that's a good way to flip honey and make money.
it's crazy. Now,
Same day.
next year I'll have a licensed kitchen. I've got everything in place this year except for the sinks. I mean, I already have all the plumbing and everything. I just need to hook it up and everything. But anyway, I'm going to get that inspected for next year. But my question is if that honey is coming to me in a bucket, am I allowed to bottle that underneath my permit?
Why not?
Yeah, you
They
bought
don't-
it. Sure.
All right, so let me ask this question.
Just don't say where you got it. That's like,
Yeah, that's the question I was going to ask. How will they know where that honey came from unless you tell them?
Now this is on live, so now this is going to be their evidence in court right here.
well,
Well, that
They
doesn't mean
still
you bought it
have to
from them. That means it was an opportunity to buy.
they better They better find the bucket that you bought from somebody else. And
They're
test
lucky
it.
I don't have that guy near me, because I would have went and bought every damn. I would tell them, don't even put it on there. Just tell me how many buckets you got, and I'll take it all.
He's willing to give bulk discounting too. That's his.
Robert,
That's
Do you-
because his market is not honey. His market is queens and nukes,
Yeah, that's what he's doing.
or maybe pollination.
The honey is
Yeah.
just getting away.
Queens.
That's just in his way. That's what that is. And then you got to make sure that when he's not giving you a pallet of crystallized 5-gallon pails too. Otherwise, you got to unbuckle it all, put it in your warmer, warm it up for a day or two, and then you can bottle it up.
Or just cream it.
Cream it, or tell them you want a cheaper price per bucket if it's crystallized. Say,
If it's crystallized, you're going to have to put it in a water bath.
Yeah, give me 180. I'll give you 180 for it. Something like that.
Well, like you said, he's offering bulk discounts, so I don't know. But
Did you ask him how much honey he's got?
no, I didn't.
That would have been my first thing. How much you got?
Yeah, I know he has a fair amount. If I didn't have 25 5-gallon buckets sitting in my shop right now, that might be interesting. But I'm thinking for next year, though, instead of going to 100 colonies, it might make more sense just to spend the time
Let someone else.
Bottling.
Yeah, fill up the equipment you've got with bees this next year. Get as much honey as you can. And
you know what, Robert? If you did that, it might be a wise investment to get a bottling unit.
I already have an auto bottler.
Oh, okay. There you go. Bingo. And
Yeah,
just,
I have a piston-driven auto bottler.
yeah.
You got
There
a
you go. You get it done.
heated tank.
I don't have a heated tank. That's the one thing I don't have. Now I'm in the process of building a heated. Well, my mom has an old commercial three door bay. I don't know what you want to call it. It's like countertop height refrigerator. It's got 3 bays, all stainless steel.
Mm-hmm. I think you showed a picture of it.
I don't think so, but I'm going to take that and convert that to a warmer. So that's my plan for this.
so you don't have a heated bottling tank?
No, I don't. That's one thing I don't have.
With your piston pump, doesn't have a
Yeah.
holding thing up here?
It has an 8-gallon hopper on it.
You could always buy a heated creamer.
Yeah.
And then it could double as a heated bottling tank when you're not creaming.
Well, I mean, what you could do is if you had a heated tank and you kept it in a heated tank and then had a valve, let's say a quarter turn valve instead of a bottling valve, and then have a hose run over to your piston pump or foot bottle, because I'm sure you take and you graduate it, don't you, for certain size ounces or whatever, let's say 16 ounces or whatever.
Yeah, you set the adjustment of how far the piston runs to how much it street. Yeah, I can't talk tonight, but
The stroke and all that.
Yeah, the stroke length, right?
Yeah, well, the way my friend has it, he has 4 different heated tanks. They're water jacketed, and I'm talking they'll hold 55 gallons. And then he runs a line from that over to his piston pump.
Yeah, you can take the hopper off. It's got a standard connector. I can't remember what they call those, but you can take the hopper off.
One that kind of it wraps around and clicks.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, anyway, all you got to do is have a hose with those types of ends on there. And he, let's say he's got a wildflower tank here and a locust tank and whatever types of honey. And he just hooks it up to that piston pump. And of course, he cleans that out before he does a run. And then he's just bottling and making cases of honey. So,
the other thing to think about, Robert, is build a creamed honey market. Pretty certain there's probably not a lot of people in your area that are familiar with creamed honey.
Well, that's why I'm going to try this.
But you could take a $200 bucket and turn it into, well, guy, I can't do the math. What's the math, Bob?
Well, I can take I call it a $600. If I was making $600 at $10 a pound, I could sell half a bucket of creamed honey for $600. So it takes from $10 to $20 a pound.
You can double your money.
Yeah. So
go from $600 to $1,200.
Yeah.
If I know you're trying to make money for your son's college and all that, and be quite honest with it, becoming a packer is probably more profitable than trying to become a producer in the long run, or in the short run, I guess you would call it. Because, like I say, my friend, he goes to all these different venues, or but kind of like what Brian does out in Colorado. He's got a table, and then he's got like a what do you call it, a bleacher type thing going up with 3 different levels on it. He puts his honey display bottles there at different flavors or whatever he's selling, and then in behind that he's got he has to have there's a license that you can buy. I don't know what, it's a special thing where you can go to the certain farm markets that you can give out a taste with, i.e., one of them little small tasting plastic spoons, and you sit there and squeeze it on there, and that kind of a
Well,
thing.
the minute I get the shop inspected, like I said, I already have the sinks and everything. I just have to hook them up. The minute I do that and get it inspected, I can, the whole flavoring and all that, that's all part of the licensing. So you can do any of that underneath the licensing. The food cottage rules apply to, you're not allowed to adulterate it, but that's strictly underneath the food cottage. The minute you get inspected and your
Yeah,
kitchen's
if you get your health department license, then you're good.
yeah,
The
you
way
fall
I-
into a whole different classification.
Well, the bad thing with those like facility inspections, they can come at any time and re-inspect it to, make sure you're keeping, I guess, that standard up, that cleanliness standard and all that they're going to inspect up to par. Just like a restaurant, basically.
Yeah, I mean, they'll have to get a key to get in because
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, they would have to re-inspect it, but that doesn't what they probably would do, knowing if they come for an inspection and they can't inspect, they'll probably leave you a notice that, hey, you need to call us to schedule this, or you're going to be temporarily shut down until we can re-inspect it type of
And
deal.
then the key becomes a warrant.
Yeah.
Well, no, the point is like how many times once you're producing, how many times a year are you actually doing this, right? How many times a year are you bottling? How many times are you extracting? So forth. Like
Right.
it's not like a normal kitchen where you're operating whatever it is daily, weekly.
Oh, yeah, I get it. But they don't care how often you use the facility. You have to have that ready to be used at any time, right? They don't know when you're bottling, when you're not bottling. It has to be probably a certain standard that it has to be kept up to.
Yeah, that won't be a problem. Like I said, I mean, the only thing I use that area of the shop, it's in my honey house. The only thing I use that area for is for extraction. So it won't be a problem. I mean, just keeping it clean.
That's it.
And when you're only operating out there
good.
3 times a year, it doesn't take long to keep it clean.
Right. Well, guys, we're coming up on 10 o'clock, and really, we've been live longer than an hour, right?
No,
That's about it. You're late.
started late today.
How am I late? I set the schedule. I can't be late when I'm setting my own schedule.
You never came on until
I was watching a basketball game. Hey, it's Friday for me. I can come on whatever
it
time.
was
First
what was
Friday
it,
of the week.
8:30, 8:45, something like that.
I watched South Carolina women's basketball beat
See, I got my sub at 8:30. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was about 8:45.
South Dakota State or somebody. But the yeah, just not a lot happening. And we're live tomorrow on Lee's channel unless something comes up or changes. But figure most of the time 10 o'clock is about the limit unless it's a Friday night, because at 11 Charlie's going to bug out either way. At 9:30 Todd's going to say I got to go even though he's on vacation. I know he don't have anything to do.
I'm on vacation this week. Oh wait, it's 7 o'clock. I gotta go.
And it's Thanksgiving week. So you guys got big plans for Thanksgiving?
No,
Ooh,
No, but I just found pumpkin pie flavoring. So
Pumpkin spice?
no, it's just literally called pumpkin pie. It's underneath the same brand as that Snickers.
I think it would probably sell good, but how long? I mean, you would have to be limited batch to sell out during that holiday season, or you're gonna be stuck with it for a whole year.
Actually, I was wrong. It's McCormick. McCormick makes it. It's pumpkin pie.
Pumpkin pie spice.
Yeah.
It is Friday for me. I don't have to work tomorrow. Not at my job, really, but I gotta do things around here. And I hear my wife struggling with my mom in there, so that's the other thing. So anyway, guys, I'm going to cut this off and go see what's going on over there. And we'll see you guys tomorrow night. Good night.
All right. See you.
Hey guys.